Salve Discipuli, this is Magister Betty, and this is the Stage 26 lesson on purpose clauses. So a purpose clause is a type of subordinate clause. It explains the why of the action in the main clause, meaning why something is happening or being done. It will start with an ut, and it will end with a subjunctive. Since it ends with a subjunctive, it is useful to review subjunctives very quickly. We have two different tenses of subjunctives. The imperfect is taken from the second principal part. It's just the infinitive plus your personal endings, mst, mustis, nt. The pluperfect is taken from the third principal part. So you chop off this I, put an issa plus your personal endings, mst, mustis, nt. Some examples. Milites ad principia convenerunt ut agriculum audirent. One way to translate it is the soldiers gathered at the headquarters in order that they might hear Agricola. A smoother way of doing it is the soldiers gathered at the headquarters to hear Agricola. Second example is per totam noctem laborabat medicus ut vulnera militum sanaret. So we have the doctor worked through the whole night, or you could say all night, in order that he might treat the soldiers' wounds. A smoother way of translating that would be the doctor worked all night to treat the soldiers' wounds. So go ahead and copy down these 6 sentences. Bracket your purpose clause. Remember, it begins with an ut, ends with a subjunctive. Underline any modifiers and draw arrows to their antecedents. Put parentheses around prep phrases. Mark all the other words that you can, and then translate the sentence. All right, our first sentence, we've got an adjective here that's modifying keyways. We have a prep phrase. We have our subordinate clause here. It begins with ut, ends with a subjunctive. We have an adjective, more to a modifying leonym. We've got a nominative subject, our main verb. We've got an accusative direct object and the verb of our subordinate clause. So all the citizens hurried to the forest in order to see the dead lion. So the reason, the purpose for them hurrying to the forest is to see the dead lion. Okay, here we've got our ut and our subjunctive. So this is our purpose clause. We've got a nominative subject. We've got a compound direct object here, 2 accusatives. We've got our main verb. We've got another accusative direct object and the verb within our subordinate clause. So the master demanded a pen and wax to write a letter, or you could say in order to write a letter. We've got a prep phrase here, to the fatherland. We've got our ut and our subjunctive. So we've got our subordinate clause, our result clause. We've got an adverb, a nominative subject, a verb, an accusative direct object, and our verb. Finally, I return to the fatherland so that I might explain the thing, or you could say to explain the thing. We've got a prep phrase, we've got our ut, beginning our subordinate clause, and a subjunctive ending our subordinate clause. We've got an adjective modifying aquam. We've got a nominative subject, an accusative direct object, our main verb. We've got another accusative direct object within our purpose clause, and we've got our verb inside of our purpose clause. So the king made a journey to the fountain to drink the sacred water, or in order that he might drink the sacred water. All right, we've got a prep phrase inside of our purpose clause that begins with an ut and ends with a subjunctive. We've got an accusative direct object, an adverb. We've got a verb, our main verb. We do not have a nominative, therefore we look at the mus to find out that the subject is we. Same in here. We've got a verb, no nominative, so we look at the mus to find out that the subject is we. So we quickly climbed onto the horses to flee from the town, or in order that we might flee from the town. Again, we've got an ut and a subjunctive. So here we have our purpose clause. We have an accusative direct object. We've got our verb. There's no nominative, but the isti tells us that the subject is you. We've got another accusative direct object. We've got our verb. Again, no nominative direct object, but the s tells us that the subject is you. So you entered the house to take the money, or in order that you might take the money. All right, so remember, it is a purpose clause is a type of subordinate clause, meaning it can't stand on its own. It is dependent on the main clause. It explains the why of the action in the main clause. It starts with an ut and it ends with a subjunctive. Vale to discipuli.